What's going on, guys? My name's Kev. On this channel, I show you guys how to build and sell AI operating systems. And in this video, I'm just going to show you a raw, complete sales call of me closing a $10,000 AI operating system for an entire agency. In this video, you're going to see all of my objection handling, how I get the clients and the prospects excited about what's possible, and how I am able to verbalize all of the different automations and systems that could be embedded inside of their specific operating system once I start to understand a little bit more about the business model that these clients are currently operating. And so I hope you guys enjoy, because this can really help you guys crush it in your own sales calls. So that's it for me. Please hit this video with a like and subscribe, and enjoy the sales call. Okay, awesome. So the left-hand side is the operating agent that'll have access to your entire team's calendar, Gmail, Zoom, Stripe, Discord, Slack, essentially whatever like day-to-day operational thing that you may want, right? So like this is a quick breakdown of the calls that I have, for example, and it was able to just source that from my calendar. But then on the right-hand side, the right-hand side is pretty ridiculous. Like we're gonna go on for a little bit on this, but it's basically an overall view and an overall like management and analysis agent on everything that's going on in your business. And so the first thing that we spoke about here was the LinkedIn agent. And so what it's doing is it's pulling the LinkedIn agent from the database itself. And so if we go inside of the database, like the agent has access to every single one of these tables. And so this is the current LinkedIn agent that I'm running for my own outreach campaigns. And since I last spoke to you guys, we went from this stat here of 298 requests and 77 accepted to 431 requests sent and 106 accepted. So let's talk about what I was showing there, right? So this is an insurance agency, and a lot of their business is operated from personal messages or creating connections on LinkedIn. And so the first agents that I'm showing them are all of the outbound agents that do that. So we have a LinkedIn agent, for example, that scrapes leads, sends connection requests, and sends a message chain in a drip campaign. And so after showing them that, they are starting to now wrap their mind around that first agent stack and how that could be used to generate new clients for their insurance agency. And that has funneled into a couple of sales into my No Code Academy and some booked calls for Creator OS. And so, yeah, it's working pretty well, but we can definitely scale that up. But what's cool about the operational agent is that we can talk to it about all of that, but we could also talk to it about like our social statistics. And this one's really, really cool. So tied into Creator OS is every one of your social platforms as well. And so like, let's say you had marketers under you that are posting on your behalf. You want to see how they're performing over time. And there's all of this stuff that's going on. You want one simple chat interface where you could see everything that's happening. And so the right-hand side can do that. So if I go like, tell me the total like growth rate of all of my social profiles, we'll just send in that message really quick, and we'll let it go to work. And so this is like the entire database that runs, or the entire agent that runs every database. So it'll get every social message that came in, all social profile analytics, all individual post analytics. It'll get your LinkedIn agent, your short form agent. Now, some of these agents I don't need in my day-to-day workflow, or I'm improving upon them, so I deactivate them. But you can imagine there's a whole new suite of agents that like we could talk about that would be beneficial for you. But again, in this use case, it would be the LinkedIn and the Facebook agent that you guys would be having integrated in a week from now. So yeah, so we just wait essentially for that execution on the left-hand side to finish off. So like this agent is literally thinking about how to respond. And then once that finishes here, the user will get it on the front end. Now, what's cool about this as well is you can send in voice prompts. So if you guys are like on your phone or like not on your computer, that's what makes these two agents really, really powerful, because you can actually operate your entire business from wherever you are. And yeah, okay, so here we go.
Just out of curiosity, what's the time frame on those metrics?
Yeah, so this was over the past like 2 weeks or 1 week, something like that.
Got it.
So yeah, but then like what is happening in like the active agents page here is like you'll see like in real time this thing updated from like 276 to 106 or whatever. And so like what you guys would be doing as the founders here is really just overviewing how everything's performing. But what I'm focusing on is creating new marketing engagement funnels based off of social. And so like, you know, a user comes onto your page, we can send them outreach campaigns. A user likes your page, we could scrape all the likers and put them into a funnel campaign. And what I wanted to talk about to finish off here was, in our last call, we spoke about Instagram outreach campaigns and how that wasn't possible, but now it is with this new tool called AirTop. And it's really ridiculous, but basically like AI can use its own computer. And so since it can use its own computer, if we give it the correct instructions with the sign-in information, it'll go and do everything on our behalf. And I've been working on the first iteration of this, and I want to just show you guys it first because this is like definitely the cutting edge of stuff. So this launches a session, which is in this case my Instagram profile. It signs in on my profile on my behalf, and then we run it through a set of tasks or a set of tools that it can use. So the tools that this agent has is click, scroll, type, query, scrape. And so like if you situate it in a way that it can do all of these systematically, then you can say, here are 100 leads for the day. I want you to now go to their profiles and send them messages. And so this is just an example to show you guys how the thing launches, and then it'll start trying to send a message. So I haven't tested this out in a couple of days. So
On the flip side of that, could we apply the same concept that we do to the LinkedIn side, where we target, say, like perfect example, like I'm looking at this hyper targeting retirement IUL stuff, right? So like we go into Knight's profile and go in and scrape all of those guys' comments, likes, followers, etc., and then build a sort of lead funnel to bring them back to our Calendly links from their profiles.
yeah, correct. And that would be like that'd be one like end-to-end workflow. So that one, for example, could be doing like connection requests and messages. And then so that's the one that I'll be delivering right immediately. But then like from there, this is where I want you guys to see like how ahead you guys are. Like the opportunity to get ahead is really ridiculous because there's so many of these use cases that have now opened up with something like AirTop, because then we can say, oh, what if we then want to message every person that has ever interacted on our page ever? We just want to go leave a comment on their most recent post to know that we exist, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, let me just pull this up really quick. So this is the AI agent's website. I'm not touching this. The AI agent is doing this, and I've been testing it here, obviously. So now you can see the AI agent move the cursor, and it's trying to click on the screen to like send a message. And so like that is a quick example, and like here are all the different messages that it's been sending. Now, obviously, like stupid message, but like it's just
Yeah.
testing it out. But basically, that is how like that is what we are working on in the end workflows of where the AI agents are going, because then you can say, things that never were possible, because like the restrictions used to be by APIs. So like the reason
Yeah.
why in our last call I said like we couldn't do the Instagram outreach messages was just because Instagram restricts that. They don't want people to send new messages. But then if you instruct an AirTop agent to access and act on behalf of you, then it's going to be very simple. Um,
Huh.
so this should be done like how so I showed you guys this week, and like I could probably guarantee that you would have the one of the world's first Instagram outreach agents in your hand by next week if all goes well. And so like
Yeah.
I think the other value of working with me guys is like I'll just keep staying on the cutting edge, and I'll do whatever I can to stay there. um, that's what I
Like,
see as like a massive advantage for people that I've been helping.
gotta figure out how to use this as the old guys in the room.
No worries. And it's actually it's easier than it is. It does seem a little intimidating, but it is like riding a bike, and I can get you guys caught up to speed. But that's also why we do it in an operating system type of way. So like you're only really interacting with this type of page. And so like the only time the LinkedIn agent would become a concern is if this goes below 25%, or you ask the management agent how things are performing and it tells you something unique. Um, yeah. Other than that, that like for example, the LinkedIn agent would just be working fully, and then that one would just be doing the connections, right? So then on Instagram, for example, like the main one that I'm about to deploy now, I haven't had time to do short form content just yet because I've been building Creator OS, like the actual software. But now that it's basically finished, we're about to raise a lot of capital. We're about to do a lot of marketing. But what's going to happen with Instagram is very interesting because we're going to run ad campaigns as well on top of organic. And instead of optimizing for people coming into our platform and then buying right away from the ad, I actually just want them to engage on my profile. So let's say I
No,
spend
smart. That's really smart.
appreciate that. Yeah, it's super exciting. Like I think we broke marketing, but I have to like it has to be validated. Um,
Yeah.
so if you spend like $1,000 on ads, and let's say that generates 10,000 impressions, like the normal cost of an ad. But instead of
Yeah.
optimizing for conversions or booked calls, which are going to happen anyways, that already happens, we're just not optimizing for that anymore because we can optimize for profile visits. The profile visits gives us the ID of the people that visited the profile. We could then send that to the Airtop outreach agent to then go kind of
And let
crazy.
them target it. I fucking love it, dude. That's awesome.
So then here's the cherry on top, boys. Once the Airtop agent sends the message, every message that gets sent gets consolidated in one chat. So if you have employees on your team that are sending messages on your behalf, the Airtop agent, which bypasses the API restriction, sends out that first message, which then gets you in the door, which will then populate within your operating system. So then once the
Hmm.
conversation begins inside of the operating system, one of your good sales reps, one of your good copyright people, for example, can go ahead and put in that work. Now, how can you track how they are doing, right? So like, let's say the Airtop agent sends out the message. Now you want to track how the direct messages on operating system is working. Well, you can go to the chief management agent because the chief management agent has access to the social messages table. And so you can say, how many messages did our team send out today in the Instagram DMs? How many messages did we send out in Twitter DMs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so that would be like this message here. And so to actually show you guys what's happening on the back end, I'll just go here and I'll be like, and since that information is in the social profile analytics table, when we send in this chat, the AI agent thinks about which table to use. And so it'll then go and just choose which table it thinks is necessary, and it chose the social profile analytics. That comes back to the agent, and now it's going to think about all of that data that it got. And this right here is what's happening on the front end on the chief management agent when you get the response back. So then in that way, you can literally like review that entire end-to-end process for the Instagram workflow, for the LinkedIn workflow, et cetera. Uh, and that's what like has me really excited. So.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, so Kevin, do me and Rich need to sit down and write all of the messages? Like we need to teach this thing what to ask, how to ask, all those types of things. Do we need to be writing that and like sending it over to you to get input? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I was actually considering creating like a drop down of buttons that you can select on these different chats. So you don't even have to type anything. You can just have like consistent output things, buttons. So imagine like on the operator agent, there was just a button that I knew the output would create the thing that you want. So like check my emails, check my calendar, like one button that checks everything, one button that does this. So like there could be like some set like things that get accomplished from those buttons, but then you can also send in the the chat prompts or voice prompts if you'd like. Um, and yeah, like, and that's what I'm here for though, because I would love to like, show you guys how that works. And
Hey,
yeah, 'cause
hey
the way,
Kevin, could we is there a way to get so within the chat GPT node in that workflow, is there a way to tell chat GPT like act as a, life insurance or health insurance agent and just go through like a long list and kind of direct it exactly how to answer? Or is
yeah,
that too
no, that's actually, I actually didn't bring up that point. That's a good point. So yeah, inside of so this is, let's say this one, guys, is like Kev's, chief database agent. And so inside of my database agent, I can give it a system prompt. And so this is the OpenAI model. So we use ChatGPT o1 or o3, which are like
Oh, wow.
the reasoning models. And here is the actual thought process of the agent. This then gets reworded and sent back to us. But the system prompt and how we instruct this agent actually comes here. So you are the chief operating agent. You have access to every table in the database. When asked, you should review all of the data in a given table for blah, 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 blah. And so this is where we would actually fine tune this agent, as Jeff was saying. And so the
And I've
response,
used those already a couple times too for like my LinkedIn blog writing. So
yeah.
act as a 10-year, 15-year financial professional with heavy experience in alternative retirement solutions, et cetera. Like I've got a bunch of that stuff that I could just copy and paste over for you that's worked really well for me.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that would be ideal because the operator agent or the management agent has access to every table, right? So that's all that it does. But what the chief operator agent does is similar to what Rich was saying there, which is let me pull it up, which is these sub agents that are specialized. And so what one of these would be, for example, is that news agent. So we would just build out this node and then we would connect like a news agent to this workflow so that when Rich sends in that message to the operator agent, it calls this specific workflow to actually get the job done. An example of that is if I wanted to get every contact that I have. So this is an actual agent, and the contact agent is actually this guy right here, but it's accessed via this node here. And so if we go like, tell me all my contacts, it'll go into the operator, it'll go to the contact agent, and then it'll come back to the operator. So in this use case for Rich, we would build out, like we have the news agent, but then I would just fine tune it for whatever you wanted the news to be about or whatever you wanted the response to be about or whatever. So then you get like these responses and some of them are just test contacts, but yeah.
So Kevin, I got a question. So let's say this thing is scraping, right? Can we scrape, let's say it finds somebody who mentioned health insurance in a comment on a health insurance post. Is there a way to have that, I guess, I don't know what you call it, I don't know the technical term, have that agent, like that was a contact agent. Is there a way to have a health insurance agent, a life insurance agent, a retirement agent, and that workflow gets injected, I guess, soon as it scrapes and finds that? I don't know the technical term, but that's what I want. Will it be able to do that?
So what could you just ask that again?
I think what he's trying to say, Kevin, is we're looking to have each of these agents specifically that are kind of on the reach out side are going to be folks, interacting with people to get them to book an appointment and or us reach out directly. So each one of those people are going to be hyper specific to that industry or a vertical that we're looking at, right? So there's health insurance is going to be a specific one that could translate into life, but we want it to be kind of independent of one another. So that way we're getting people actively looking for health insurance and people that would be more likely to convert on a high level life insurance retirement sale.
And is that a different agent? Like you have the contact agent, is there a setup for each one of those verticals? And then is the line of questioning
adjustable?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the answer to all that's yes. Now there's a difference between dynamic and static variables.
So essentially what you're asking, Rich, or Brian, is there an agent just for health and an agent just for life or IULs?
Yeah, can we set up the workflow or, the order of operations to get them to book an appointment on our calendar for each one of those? And on top of that, I guess the other question is, I just want to clarify from last week. Let's say, we send this thing out to scrape. It finds any post on LinkedIn that mentions health insurance, anybody who likes or comments on that post, they then get a contact request or a connection request. And then in the drip campaign or whatever you want to call it, a couple days later, we're sending a message and then we're leading them into the calendar.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So the answer is yes. And I can, so basically, but I just want to clarify. So when we set out a campaign, let's just bring up the LinkedIn agent, for example. We store it with leads, right? So if we wanted to optimize the campaign, I typically run each individual campaign on for the outreach stuff, like month over month. So let's say the first month. And so here's where it gets interesting because the difference between me and you guys is that you guys have a big team. And so let's say, just between you two, one wants to reach out to health, one wants to reach out to a different industry. Those workflows already would be set up with their own separate leads and they would both be working simultaneously. So a way that you guys can think about what would happen in the delivery of Creator OS is that you would both have your separate logins to the same application. But when you log in, Rich will see how his LinkedIn agent is performing for his outreach offer or whatever campaign that we have decided on. And then Brian's would be for his campaign or whatever he has decided on. And so let's say we do that plan and we go for a month each with different industries. We can also A/B test that to see which outreach funnel is better. And then we can double down on it. And I see that as the best solution there. But did I answer the question well?
I think so. I mean, I understand what you just said, but yeah, when you say outreach funnel,
Okay.
say outreach funnel, is this the traditional funnel that I'm thinking of that, started with Facebook, and is that what we're talking about? Or are we talking about some other type of funnel?
Okay, yeah. So like this thing that says 1350 leads, like the agent has been stored with these leads in advance. So this campaign will run for this duration, given the amount of leads that I've given it, and this is what I wanted to pursue for the next like little bit when like for my next outreach campaign. Um,
Okay.
and then like you know we can also scale with AI influencers, right? So like for my case, like we would just make if we find like the winning target demo, like super winning, then we would just go all in on that. And I'm pretty sure like we're figuring it out. Like I'm pretty sure it's just creator led businesses. Like that is really what we're just like leaning super in on, because if we help them at the ground floor, like they'll stay with us for life. And so like what I'm doing here is just running this campaign and then checking how the messages and stuff is being received in the actual LinkedIn like social platform. So
Yeah.
like the first message just gets me in the door, right? So the thing I think you guys want to like focus on is actually like the marketing campaign here and like what's being sent. Because we can keep changing out the leads, we can keep changing out the campaigns, and I don't want you to actually like worry too much about that, because that we could definitely do that. So
Mhm.
then like the actual message is pretty important. And I'm still like optimizing this. Like this still has to be better because we have the interactive demo now, but I still have to film like the actual how I use my own operating system, because that would make the most sense to them of how like it can be fine-tuned for any business. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, then we would run this out, and if all goes good, then then we keep it as is. And the thing is like this will become a saturated thing, let's say in 6 to 8 months. So it's more about just getting started, and you'll just see like the productivity of this. And it's not really, I don't have anything to sell you right now. It's like the opportunity is too good.
Yeah. Is there any, okay, so for example, I've got, I don't know, 7 or 8 thousand connections on LinkedIn. Is there a way to have one agent market to my already existing connections and then have another, I don't know if it does it all at the same time, and then have another building connections to then market to? I'm asking for both sides here because we have a lot of our new agents who haven't used LinkedIn before. And so when we end up plugging them into this, my vision is for this to build up their connections in LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever, and then market to those. So is it able to do both, and does it do it simultaneously? I'm just trying to get down to the real practicality of it for a brand new agent, because I want this to be a very productive tool for them. And if they come in, because it's often that they come in and say, hey, I don't use LinkedIn. I don't have a LinkedIn. So we're creating one for them. I don't use whatever, you know what I'm saying? So we want to build that from scratch for the brand new agent. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And the way that I thought about it when you brought it up is like those new agents, like they would be producing content. So the way that we would be reaching out to those people is from the engagements of their content plus the connection and outreach agent. So that is how you would have a simultaneous outreach system for someone that's brand new starting on LinkedIn. But if you already have your LinkedIn following, we could do a scrape of those followings. And this is the AirTop agent I was talking about. Literally, no one has spoken about this because it doesn't exist unless someone builds it. And so, like, I'm building it. But basically, it's like
Uh,
if you had 6,000 connections, then you put that into a database. Now, there is LinkedIn messaging restrictions. You could probably send like only 200 messages a day, but I mean, that's more than enough,
yeah,
right? Uh,
yeah.
and so, yeah, that like absolutely works. Now, keep in mind, I just have to build it out, but that's okay. Like once it's built out, there's also like I could use it for all of my clients. So it's not like this thing is literally brand spanking new, and I've just been grinding at it. So I will have it finished by like a week. And then essentially what that opens up is then you can literally bring up any social profile platform, software service that you can give these agents access to. So like it can even
So
like Yeah, it's really nutty. It's really nutty.
Yeah, I mean, I see the power in it for sure, man. I think it's going to be a game changer for the agency here, especially bringing in new agents. They're banging out phone calls, trying to figure out how to talk to people. And in the background, we got appointments being set for them. I think it's going to be amazing.
Oh, that's huge.
But what inputs do you need from me and Rich? Like, do you need a conversation flow? Like, I can give you an example of a time where I engaged somebody on LinkedIn and got them all the way to a telephone call and an appointment. Do you need to see that what that flow looks like, or a few examples, like some screenshots, or what inputs do you need from us to build it?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I would need about 1 hour of your guys' time, like in a call where you share, like, can sit down, share your computer, just because I would need to connect some of these APIs to you guys. So the cool
Okay.
thing, so like
Okay.
and I still have simplified this. So because there's a lot of like I want to make the user experience the best in my opinion for everyone, like as well. Like that's another I think competitive advantage. And so like when we deliver Creator OS itself, the operating system, all you have to do to connect all your social profiles is click create social profile, then click connect accounts, and it literally just opens up a new secured URL that no one else except for you has access to, and you connect every single one of your social profiles here. You click out, and then you go to your dashboard, and it'll show you that all your profiles are connected. So that's step one. And then step two would just be connecting the specialized LinkedIn agents and the specialized operating agents, right? And that all in all will take about an hour.
Okay.
What do we need to do? What's next?
So, well, I mean, I sent over the invoice for us to start working, and then we can book in our call for, ASAP essentially, so we can sit down and essentially set this whole thing up. And this won't be called Creator OS. This will be called whatever you guys want it to be called. This is
Okay.
completely white label. So like this can literally be called Drennan Agency. This can be called, dude, whatever you want. And then same thing with the URL. So you can have like a proper deployment, right? And what we can do here is we run the entire server on your behalf as well. And so like it's a done for you service that will eventually also turn into a CRM essentially. So like imagine like expenses that are go high level and all that other stuff. It should be baked into Creator OS as time goes on. Um,
Got it.
Okay.
and so like
Kevin,
yeah,
can you do me a favor? Can you split that invoice for us and invoice us separately, just from a perspective?
sure.